You already know what's wrong. That's the terrifying part. You don't need another motivational quote on your phone screen. You don't need another podcast episode while you're doing dishes. You don't need someone to tell you that you're capable of more, because deep down, in a place you rarely visit, you already know. And that knowing, that quiet, uncomfortable awareness that you are not living anywhere close to the life you're capable of, that is not a feeling you can keep ignoring. That is a signal. And today, we're going to answer it. Let's start with something nobody says out loud. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fail because the world is unfair, though sometimes it is. They don't fail because they weren't given enough chances. Most people fail because they made peace with a version of themselves that was never meant to be permanent. They took a temporary limitation, exhaustion, fear, confusion, a bad season, and they signed a lifetime lease on it. They made it their identity, and then they spent years decorating that identity, justifying it, defending it, and calling anyone who challenged it toxic or unrealistic. That is not a life. That is a very comfortable, very convincing trap. Here is the truth about your mind that nobody teaches you in school. Your brain is not your ally by default. It is a survival machine. It is wired to conserve energy, avoid pain, and seek the fastest route to comfort. That is not weakness, that is biology. But you are not just biology. You are also choice. You are also intention. You are also the voice that can override the default setting and say, not today, not this version of me, not anymore. The war in your mind is real. It is happening right now, even as you listen to these words. On one side stands the person you are meant to become, disciplined, focused, relentless, alive. On the other side stands every excuse you've ever made, every snooze button you've ever hit, every moment you chose scrolling over building, comfort over courage, familiar over possible. Every single day, that war is decided not by talent, not by luck, but by the small choices you make when no one is watching and nothing is forcing you. Think about the last time you had a big goal. You felt it in your chest, that electric mix of excitement and terror. You told yourself this time would be different. And then, slowly, quietly, without a dramatic failure or a single breaking point, the goal just faded. Not because you quit. You never officially quit. You just delayed. You postponed. You said tomorrow so many times that tomorrow became a myth you stopped believing in. That is the real enemy. Not failure. Postponement. Failure at least means you tried. Postponement means you are still standing at the starting line, telling yourself you're warming up, while your life moves forward without you in it. And let me talk about motivation, because we have been dangerously misled about what it is. We were taught that motivation is the engine. That if you just find the right song, the right quote, the right Monday, the inspiration will arrive and carry you forward. That is a beautiful lie. Motivation is not the engine. It is the spark. Sparks are fleeting. Sparks don't build empires. They don't finish degrees. They don't transform bodies or launch companies or repair relationships. What builds all of those things is something far less glamorous, far less talked about, and far more powerful. It's called discipline, and discipline doesn't care how you feel this morning. Discipline is the decision you made yesterday, playing out in your actions today, regardless of mood, regardless of weather, regardless of whether anyone is applauding. The most successful people you admire are not constantly inspired. They are consistently committed. There is a profound difference between those two things. Think about a professional athlete for a moment. Not on game day, on a random Tuesday in November. It's cold. They're tired. Their body aches. The crowd isn't there. The cameras aren't there. The excitement of the season opener is months behind them, and they train anyway, not because they feel like it. Because they are someone who trains. Their identity is the discipline. That is the shift you need to make. Stop asking yourself how you feel about the goal and start asking yourself who you are committed to becoming. Because feelings change with the weather. Identity, once forged, is far more durable. Now let's talk about excuses, because this is where most self-help content gets soft. Excuses are not just bad habits. They are architecturally sophisticated defense systems that your mind builds over years to protect your ego from the pain of honest self-assessment. Every excuse is a brick, and without realizing it, you have been building a fortress, not to protect yourself, but to imprison yourself. The walls are made of "I don't have enough time," as if the most impactful people in history lived in a different universe with 36-hour days. The ceiling is made of "I'm not ready yet," the most expensive sentence ever spoken, because it has delayed more human potential than any obstacle ever placed by the external world. The floor is made of "What if I fail?" as if staying where you are is somehow safer, as if stagnation doesn't have its own devastating cost that compounds silently while you wait for the perfect moment to arrive. Here is what nobody tells you about the perfect moment. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't arrive with fanfare or clarity or certainty. The perfect moment is always disguised as a terrifying, uncertain, deeply uncomfortable right now. Every person who ever built something extraordinary started before they were ready. They started scared. They started small. They started with doubt whispering in one ear and ambition shouting in the other. And they chose to listen to ambition. That courage, that specific, unglamorous, unsexy choice to begin, is the only thing separating the life you're living from the life you keep imagining. And I want to speak directly to the people who believe in working hard, but secretly feel like they're still not moving. You are grinding. You are showing up. But ask yourself honestly, are you growing? Or are you just staying busy? Because there is a version of effort that looks like momentum, but is actually just motion. Running on a treadmill burns calories, but it doesn't take you anywhere. You can be exhausted and still be stuck. Real growth requires direction. It requires honest, uncomfortable evaluation of what is actually working and the courage to change what isn't, even when changing feels like betrayal of the effort you already invested. Sunk cost is not a reason to continue in the wrong direction. Clarity is a reason to change direction, and changing direction is not weakness. It is intelligence in action. Let's talk about your environment, because you cannot build a new version of yourself in the same conditions that created the current version. This is not just about the people around you, though they matter enormously. It's also about what you consume, what you allow into your mind daily, what conversations you participate in, what narratives you reinforce by repeating them. If the 5 voices closest to you, whether physically present or digitally constant, are voices of complaint, of limitation, of settling, then you are marinating in a mindset that will erode your ambition as surely as water erodes stone. Slowly, invisibly, until one day you look up and realize you've stopped dreaming, not because life was unkind, but because you let the wrong voices become louder than your own. Hear it ruthlessly, not with cruelty, but with clarity. You are not obligated to carry everyone with you into your next chapter. You are allowed to outgrow relationships, habits, environments, and versions of yourself. Growth is not betrayal. Growth is the most honest thing a human being can do. It is the fulfillment of potential, which is the only real purpose any of us carry. And here is what real self-respect looks like, not the soft, comfortable, congratulate yourself for trying version you see on social media. Real self-respect is demanding. It looks at you with steady eyes and says, I believe in what you are capable of, and I will not accept less. It is the force that makes you get up when your mind says stay down, not because you're fearless, but because your respect for your own future is greater than your sympathy for your present discomfort. Loving yourself means refusing to let the weakest version of you make the decisions. It means protecting your potential with the same ferocity you would protect someone you deeply love from harm, because you are worth that protection. Not when you succeed, not when you arrive. Right now, as you are, in all your unfinished, still becoming, not there yet reality, you are worth the fight. So here's where we end, and where you begin. You now understand that the voice telling you to wait is not wisdom. It is fear wearing the costume of patience. You understand that motivation is a visitor, but discipline is a resident you build deliberately over time. You understand that your excuses are not explanations, they are choices, and every choice has a price. You understand that comfort is not safety. It is slow surrender dressed in familiar clothes. And you understand that the war for your potential is won or lost in the private moments. The unglamorous ones. The ones no one sees or celebrates. The ones that happen every single morning when you decide, once again, who you are going to be today. The world doesn't give its best to those who wait for it. It yields to those who move. It opens for those who push. It rewards those who refuse to be defined by what they were and choose instead to be shaped by what they are becoming. That is you. That has always been you. The only question left is whether you are finally ready to act like it. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. The version of you that is capable of everything you've ever wanted isn't waiting for a perfect moment. It's waiting for you to decide that this moment, this imperfect, terrifying, uncertain moment, is enough to begin. Go begin.